Hi, everyone. Let's learn psychology with me, Bertie. We are going to cover the topic of social and personality development in middle childhood. That's the age of 6 to 12 years old. If you have children around this age or you know someone around this age, please let me know if it's correct, if they have these characteristics, or perhaps you have other experience. You can write in the comment section. Psychosocial development in middle childhood. Lasting from roughly age 6 to 12, the industry versus inferiority stage is characterized by a focus on efforts to meet the challenges presented by parents, peers, school, and other complexities of the modern world. School presents enormous challenges. They must direct their energies not only to mastering what they are presented in school, which encompasses an enormous body of information, but also to making a place for themselves in their social worlds. Success in the industry versus inferiority stage brings with it feelings of mastery and proficiency and a growing sense of competence. On the other hand, difficulties in this stage lead to feelings of failure and inadequacy. As a result, children may withdraw both from academic pursuits, showing less interest and motivation to excel, and from interactions with peers. The shift in self-understanding from the physical to the psychological. Children are on a quest for self-understanding during middle childhood. They begin to view themselves less in terms of external physical attributes and more in terms of psychological traits. Children's views of who they are become less simplistic and have greater complexity. In Erikson's view, children are seeking endeavors where they can be successfully industrious. As they get older, children discover that they may be good at some things and not so good at others. Children's self-concepts become divided into personal and academic spheres. Children evaluate themselves in 4 major areas, and each of these can be broken down even further. For instance, the non-academic self-concept includes the components of physical appearance, peer relations, and physical ability. Academic self-concept is similarly divided. Social comparison. The desire to evaluate one's own behavior, abilities, expertise, and opinions by comparing them to those of others. Looking inward, the development of self. General self-concept. Here there are 4 self-concepts: physical self-concept, emotional self-concept, academic self-concept, and social self-concept. Physical self-concept consists of physical ability and physical appearance. For example, I'm pretty good at golf, but another person is way better. Emotional self-concept, particular emotional states. For example, I'm so sick of my parents telling me what to do. Academic self-concept is the self-concept about the Subjects at school like English, history, math, and science. For example, I'm good at language, but physics is hard for me. Social self-concept consists of peers and significant others. For example, I'm pretty popular. People like me. Downward social comparison. Kids choose to make downward social comparisons with others who are obviously less competent or successful. Such downward social comparisons protects children's self-esteem. By comparing themselves to those who are less able, children ensure that they will come out on top and thereby preserve an image of themselves as successful. Self-esteem is an individual's overall and specific positive and negative self-evaluation. Whereas self-concept reflects beliefs and cognitions about the self. For example, I'm good at trumpet, I'm not so good at social studies. Self-esteem is more emotionally oriented. Self-esteem develops in important ways during middle childhood. It becomes increasingly differentiated. At the age of 7, most children have self-esteem that reflects a global, fairly simple view of themselves. If their overall self-esteem is positive, they believe that they are relatively good at all things. Their self-esteem is higher for some areas and lower in others. Generally, overall self-esteem is high during middle childhood, but it begins to decline around the age of 12. Students with high self-esteem travel a more positive path, falling into a cycle of success. Having higher expectations leads to increased effort and lower anxiety, increasing the probability of success. In turn, this helps affirm their higher self-esteem that began the cycle. Children with low self-esteem face a tough road, in part because their self-esteem becomes enmeshed in a cycle of failure that grows increasingly difficult to break. For example, Harry, a student with chronically low self-esteem, is facing an important test. He expects to do poorly because of his low self-esteem. As a consequence, he is quite anxious that he is unable to concentrate well and study effectively. He may decide not to study much because he figures that, if he's going to do badly anyway, why bother studying? Ultimately, of course, his high anxiety and lack of effort bring about the result he expected. He does poorly on the test. This failure, which confirms his expectation, reinforces his low self-esteem, and the cycle of failure continues. Parents can help break the cycle of failure by promoting their children's self-esteem. The best way to do this is through the use of the authoritative child-rearing style. Authoritative parents are warm and emotionally supportive, while still setting clear limits for their children's behavior. Let's continue. Social identity theory. According to the theory, members of a minority group are likely to accept the negative views held by a majority group only if they perceive that there is little realistic possibility of changing the power and status differences between the groups. If minority group members feel that prejudice and discrimination can be reduced, and they blame society for the prejudice and not themselves, self-esteem should not differ between majority and minority groups. Moral development. Kohlberg contends that people pass through a series of stages as their sense of justice evolves and in the kind of reasoning they use to make moral judgments. Children are capable of comprehending abstract formal principles of morality, and they consider cases such as the one in the textbook presented in terms of broader issues of morality and of right and wrong. Kohlberg suggests that moral development emerges in three-level sequence, which is further subdivided into 6 stages. At the lowest level, pre-conventional morality, stages 1 and 2, people follow rigid rules based on punishments or rewards. For example, a student at the pre-conventional level might evaluate the moral dilemma posed in the story by saying that it was not worth stealing the drug because if you were caught, you would go to jail. I'll tell you the story then. Your wife is near death from an unusual kind of cancer. One drug exists that the physicians think might save her, a form of radium that a scientist in a nearby city has recently developed. The drug is expensive to manufacture, and the scientist is charging 10 times what the drug costs him to make. He pays $1,000 for the radium and charges $10,000 for a small dose. You have gone to everyone you know to borrow money, but you can get together only $2,500, 1/4 of what you need. You've told the scientist that your wife is dying and asked him to sell it more cheaply or let you pay later. But the scientist has said, nope, I discovered the drug and I'm going to make money from it. In desperation, you consider breaking into the scientist's laboratory to steal the drug for your wife. Should you do it? That's a statement. That's an example. In the next level, that of conventional morality, stages 3 and 4, people approach moral problems in terms of their own position as good, responsible members of society. Some at this level would decide against stealing the drug because they think that they would feel guilty or dishonest for violating social norms. Others would decide in favor of stealing the drug because if they did nothing in the situation, they would be unable to face others. All of these people would be reasoning at the conventional level of morality. That means it can be yes or no. Finally, individuals using post-conventional morality, level 3, stages 5 and 6, invoke universal moral principles that are considered broader than the rules of the particular society in which they live. People who feel that they would condemn themselves if they did not steal a drug because they would not be living up to their own moral principles would be reasoning at the post-conventional level. Kohlberg's theory proposes that people move through the periods of moral development in a fixed order, and that they are unable to reach the highest stage until adolescence, due to deficits in cognitive development that are not overcome until then. However, not everyone is presumed to reach the highest stages. Kohlberg found that post-conventional reasoning is relatively rare. There are some critics to his theory, though, because his theory is based on observations of members of Western cultures. And then the theory initially was based largely on data from males. That means it lacks the moral development from girls. Moral development in girls. Psychologist Carol Gilligan suggested that differences in the ways boys and girls are raised in society lead to basic distinctions in how men and women view moral behavior. Boys view morality primarily in terms of broad principles, such as justice or fairness, whereas girls see it in terms of responsibility towards individuals and willingness to sacrifice themselves to help specific individuals within the context of particular relationships. Gilligan's 3 stages of moral development for women. Stage 1. Orientation toward individual survival. Characteristics. Initial concentration is on what is practical and best for self. Gradual transition from selfishness to responsibility, which includes thinking about what would be best for others. Example: a first grader may insist on playing only games of her own choosing when playing with a friend. Stage 2. Goodness as self-sacrifice. Characteristics. Initial view is that a woman must sacrifice her own wishes to what other people want. Gradual transition from goodness to truth, which takes into account needs of both self and others. Example: now older, the same girl may believe that to be a good friend, she must play games her friend chooses, even if she herself doesn't like them. Stage 3. Morality of non-violence. Characteristics. A moral equivalence is established between self and others. Hurting anyone, including oneself, is seen as immoral. Most sophisticated form of reasoning, according to Gilligan. Example: the same girl may realize that both friends must enjoy their time together and look for activities that both she and her friend can enjoy. Friendship. Friends influence children's development in several ways. For example, friendships provide children with information about the world and other people, as well as about themselves. Friends provide emotional support that allows children to respond more effectively to stress. Having friends makes a child less likely to be the target of aggression. Having friends can also teach children how to manage and control their emotions and help them interpret their own emotional experiences. Having children also provides a training ground for communicating and interacting with others. They can also foster intellectual growth by increasing children's range of experiences. There are a few stages of friendships. Stage 1. Basing friendship on others' behavior. In the first stage, from around 4 to 7 years old, children see friends as others who like them and with whom they share toys and other activities. They view the children with whom they spend the most time as their friends. They don't realize, though, about how to take others' personal qualities into consideration. Stage 2, basing friendship on trust. From around age 8 to 10, this stage covers a period in which children take others' personal qualities and traits, as well as the rewards they provide, into consideration. The centerpiece of friendship in this second stage is mutual trust. Friends are seen as those who can be counted on to help out when they are needed. Stage 3, basing friendship on psychological closeness. This stage of friendship begins toward the end of middle childhood from 11 to 15 years of age. Children begin to develop the view of friendship that they hold during adolescence. The main criteria for friendship shift toward intimacy and loyalty. Friendship at this stage is characterized by feeling of closeness, usually brought on by sharing personal thoughts and feelings through mutual disclosure. They are also somewhat exclusive. By the time they reach the end of middle childhood, children seek out friends who will be loyal, and they come to view friendships not so much in terms of shared activities as in terms of the psychological benefits that friendship brings. Children also develop clear ideas about which behaviors they seek in their friends and which they dislike. Fifth and sixth graders most enjoy others who invite them to participate in activities and who are helpful both physically and psychologically. Individual differences in friendship. What makes a child popular? Status. Status is the evaluation of a role or person by other relevant members of a group. Children who have higher status have greater access to available resources, such as games, toys, books, and information. On the contrary, lower status children are more likely to follow the lead of children of higher status. High status children tend to form friendships with higher status individuals, while lower status children are more likely to have friends of lower status. It is not only the quantity of social interactions that separates high status children from lower status children. The nature of their interactions is also different. Higher status children are more likely to be viewed as friends by other children. They are more likely to form cliques, groups that are viewed as exclusive and desirable, and they tend to interact with a greater number of other children. On the contrary, children of lower status are more likely to play with younger or less popular children. Popularity is a reflection of children's status. Popularity. School-age children who are mid to high in status are more likely to initiate and coordinate joint social behavior, making their general level of social activity higher than that of children low in social status. Popularity is a reflection of children's status. That means if children are popular, then their status is higher. What personal characteristics lead to popularity? Popular children share several personality characteristics. They're usually helpful, cooperating with other people or enjoying projects. They tend to be funny, tending to have good senses of humor, and to appreciate others' attempts at humor. They are able to read others' nonverbal behavior and understand others' emotional experience. They can also control their nonverbal behavior more effectively, thereby presenting themselves well. In summary, popular children are high in social competence. Social competence is the collection of individual social skills that permits individuals to perform successfully in social settings. Social problem-solving abilities. Social problem-solving refers to the use of strategies for solving social conflicts in ways that are satisfactory both to oneself and to others. Successful strategies for dealing with people, with the children, are important element of social success. Generally, children who are popular are better at interpreting the meaning of others' behavior accurately. They possess a wider inventory of techniques for dealing with social problems. Unpopular children may become victims of a phenomenon known as learned helplessness. Learned helplessness. Because they don't understand the root causes of their unpopularity, children may feel that they have little or no ability to improve their situation. As a result, they may simply give up and not even try to become more involved with their peers. In turn, their learned helplessness becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, reducing the chances that they will become more popular in the future. Bullying. About 10 to 15% of students bully others at one time or another. About half of all bullies come from abusive homes, meaning, of course, that half don't. They tend to watch more TV containing violence, and they misbehave more at home and at school than do non-bullies. They may try to lie their way out of the situation when their bullying gets them into trouble, and they show little remorse for their victimization of others. Bullies are more likely to break the law as adults. Although bullies are sometimes popular among their peers, some ironically themselves become victims of bullying. What we should do about it? One of the most effective ways to reduce the incidence of bullying is through school programs that enlist and involve students. For example, schools can train students to intervene when they see an instance of bullying, rather than watching passively. Empowering students to stand up for victims has been shown to reduce bullying significantly. How can children in middle childhood deal with bullying? Among the strategies experts suggest are refusing to engage when provocations occur, speaking up against bullying, saying something like as, "Stop it," and talking with parents, teachers, and other trusted adults to get their help. Children to recognize that one has the right not to be bullied. Dominance hierarchy. Members of higher status can safely question and oppose children lower in the hierarchy. Families, the changing home environment. Middle childhood is a period of co-regulation in which children and parents jointly control behavior. Increasingly, parents provide broad, general guidelines for conduct, while children have control over their everyday behavior. For example, parents may urge their daughter to buy a balanced, nutritious school lunch each day, but their daughter's decision to regularly buy pizza and 2 desserts is very much her own. When both parents work outside of the home, how do children fare? Children whose parents are loving, are sensitive to their children's needs, and provide appropriate substitute care typically develop no differently from children in families in which one of the parents does not work. Home and alone. What do children do? Self-care children. Self-care children are the children who let themselves into their homes after school and wait alone until their caretakers return from work, previously known as latchkey children. Multi-generational family, blended family, a remarried couple that has at least one stepchild living with them. How children explain academic success and failure. How you react is a reflection of your attributions. The explanations for the reasons behind your behavior. People generally react to failure as well as success by considering the cause is due to dispositional factors. For example, I'm not such a smart person, or due to situational factors. I didn't get enough sleep last night. For example, when a success is attributed to internal factors, I'm smart, students tend to feel pride. But failure attributed to internal factors, I'm stupid, causes shame. Cultural comparisons. In addition to individual differences, among the strongest influences on people's attributions are their race, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status. Attribution is a two-way street. While our attributions can affect our future performance, it is also true that different experiences give us different perceptions about the ways things in the world fit together. For this reason, it is not surprising that there are subcultural differences in how achievement-related behaviors are understood and explained. Emotional intelligence is the set of skills that underlies the accurate assessment, evaluation, expression, and regulation of emotions. That's it. Thank you so much for studying psychology with me. See you next time.